systems where people observed, it's called a predator-prey system, where you have, let us say, a population of foxes and a population of rabbits. And they are in the same area, and no prizes for guessing, but foxes eat rabbits. Rabbits make more rabbits and die either of old age or if you're caught by a fox. Okay, so that's the basic idea. So what was observed in nature, because people went out to hunt foxes, that they would see that in some years there were a large number of foxes, and in other years that population of foxes was low. And simultaneously, the years when the fox population was high, the population of rabbits was low, because a lot of foxes were eating the rabbits. But when there are no rabbits left, the fox population goes down. You've got a lot of hungry foxes dying out. But when the number of foxes go down, the number of rabbits increase because there are fewer foxes to run away from. So after a while, the number of foxes goes down, the number of rabbits goes up. When there are lots of rabbits and few foxes, you have some very fat foxes which are then growing more, and the number of rabbits starts coming down. So you see the cycle: lots of foxes, few rabbits, few foxes, lots of rabbits, and so on. So this was modeled by Lotka, and these equations are called the Lotka-Volterra equations, and that's what our friend there studied. That's an unusual sneeze. Yeah. But now these equations by themselves are actually not chaotic. The Lotka-Volterra equations are not chaotic because they are actually linear, but small variations of that are chaotic. And the general point that you made, that chaos is a way in which natural systems remain robust, is in fact a true one. In some detailed picture over there, you can show how if you're modeling populations, from a very small population, you can come back to a stable population because your system has all these behaviors in it. And that's generally true. See, sensitive dependence on initial condition tells you that precisely predicting something is difficult. But the fact that you have an attractor says that you're always on the attractor. And to give the analogy over here, I can't tell you what the temperature is outside today exactly, whether it is 30 degrees or 29.82 or whatever. But I can also tell you that it is within a certain range. I can make some kinds of unnecessary and useless predictions exactly. It is not snowing outside. That's a prediction, right? But it's a pointless one. But what this says is that we are on a weather attractor, let us say, which is within certain regimes and certain limits. But on that particular thing, I can't predict exactly. Okay, so the question was clear. The answer is that originally when all this started, we all thought that chaos was going to be very important in biological systems. It turns out that almost every biological phenomenon, things like, let's say, glycolytic oscillations, or, at the subcellular molecular biology level, chaos is not as important as we thought it was going to be. It's much more important in physiology, it's more important in population biology, but it is not important in the detailed behavior within a cell. Okay? But for slightly more complicated reasons. Yeah? And as far as astronomy is concerned, chaos is not there in our motion around the sun or the moon's motion around us. There is absolutely no chaos. So next year you can plan, right? Or a few more years you can plan. Where there is a lot of chaos and we use it is in the motion of satellites. Artificial satellites, you've heard of how you get a gravity boost Those all exploit chaotic orbits that are many chaotic orbits between here and the moon and wherever, but they all use use these features of chaos to actually propel themselves quite a distance.
Sir, I wanted to ask, we study in economics, some small change in factor of production or the pricing strategy gives a completely different result, like what we used to, if we have a particular strategy and we get XYZ results, and some small change gives a completely different result. Is this the application of chaotic theory in economics?
Yeah. There have been many applications of chaos theory in economics, but it turns out that, okay, there's one word that I did not use at all, and that was the word deterministic. Right? Everything that I've talked about was deterministic. That is, the system was known exactly in some sense, and it behaved unpredictably. In economics, there are also a lot of exogenous effects, which you don't. So this is what is endogenous. In many things which are unpredictable in economics have exogenous origins. But in addition, there are endogenous things, and that, for example, is the kind of work that people like Ricardo and company did. Okay, so these ideas are used over there as well.
Hello.
Yeah.
My question is about software engineering. Nowadays, everybody is opening bank accounts because government has declared some subsidy to be deposited in bank. I'm trying to put it in context. So, generally it is observed in the branch of the bank, any bank, system is slow, or system is not working, or there may be a pattern, and there is a pattern which is observed at peak hours, system is really slow, or even non-peak hours also system is slow. Maybe the front desk staff is not willing to work or whatever. So what I want to understand from you, as you have been studying on chaos and its multiple applications, in software engineering, is chaos studied, is a pattern or is a chaos application been studied, or if any literature or any research available on that? Okay. Because it is, software system is a complex subsystem together, which is database and hardware and then software program and all. So this is my question.
See, what the kind of system that you're talking about, to my mind, what it seems to remind me is more queuing theory. What happens when there are a lot of people who want to address the same system? What is the time between their queries and so on? Strictly speaking, this will not have very much to say about that kind of phenomena, because this is to do with not with behavior, but with just some inherent properties of the system. The one application that I alluded to, but let me give an example. Give that example: screensavers. In the early days, when you were making CRT displays, people found that if you left an image on the screen, it burnt into the screen. You see, in the old days, you would remember that you went to the computer screen and you could almost read the last letter that they had written because it would be etched onto the screen. So they felt that it would be better to illuminate the pixels randomly. So one of the ways of illuminating the pixels randomly is to use a chaotic system, because it's never going to repeat itself. You don't know exactly where it's going to come up. So a lot of screensavers that you see are really based on equations like this. Okay.
Hello, sir. Sir, I'd like to ask that you talked about errors in the sensitivity to initial condition. So is error a manifestation of chaos or the cause of chaos?
Okay, the cause of chaos, it's not the cause of chaos. All right. Now, whether an error is the manifestation of chaos is a slightly more, it's more problematic to talk about errors as the point that I was trying to make is a different one. Okay, we talk about it with the same language, that's the problem. The error over here is just the difference in the in the precision at which you're able to specify something. Okay? Many times when you make a measurement, the errors that you will see are because of a variety of sources. Some of it could be external randomness, or what I was talking about over here is that if you take an exact behavior, but you make a small change, then the observed behavior, which will diverge from this exact behavior, that will have this apparent error in it. So it's not an error in the sense of mistake. It is just the difference in the...
Yes, sir, but that... Okay. Yeah. So, but that difference also, is it being caused by chaos? Because chaos is there is error, or because there is error,
okay.
There is chaos?
No, that's an important point. If there is chaos which is there, then there are inherent fluctuations in anything that you can observe. And that you can interpret in whichever way you want. Okay?
As the number of attractor increases, it leads to a chaotic results. So what are the reasons for number of increasing attractors?
Okay, that is a more complicated and it's a research question in some sense. Many systems that we know have either one attractor or sometimes two or a few. Why you have many attractors, those are somewhat more complicated matters. Many systems have few attractors and some systems have a lot, but those are details. Okay, sorry, it's not a better answer that I can't tell you that, if this happens, you'll have a lot of attractors, and if this happens, you won't have any. So, yeah.
Thank you. May I now invite Professor Kothari to formally propose the vote of thanks.
Well, today's chief guest, Professor Ramkrishna Ramaswamy, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajan Velukar, Director BCUD, Dr. Rajpal Hande, Registrar Sri Kumar Khaire, all the members of authorities, principals of colleges, heads of departments of University of Mumbai, teachers and students, and ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor and privilege to be called upon to propose a vote of thanks. But before I begin, there are two announcements. One is that next lecture is by Dr. Anil Kakotkar, and he is going to speak on energy security. So please do come on 16th of February at 10:30 a.m. in the morning in the same hall. And the second announcement is that, as initiated by our Honorable Vice Chancellor and suggested by Dr. Mashilkar, that we are going to have a competition for students. You have to send one-page write-up of what you have learned today or what you have understood today to us by email. We'll announce the email on Monday, email ID on our website. And in the second page, write down 5 points that based on this lecture and based on Dr. Mashilkar's lecture, meaning two separate competitions. For each lecture, we'll have a competition. What decisions that you make in your life for your further goals, and what changes that you could make to society. So this is a competition open to all students. You should participate in large number, and there are going to be 3 prizes. But the condition is that the prizes would be given only if the jury feels that, whatever you have written is worth giving a prize. So please do give us quality answers and quality competition. Now, it is again my pleasure and duty to give a vote of thanks. We are grateful to today's chief guest and speaker, Professor Ramkrishna Ramaswamy, for enlightening us on chaos and orders, and definitely he has brought order into our chaos, order into our minds. And I would like to give my views on this, just a line to young minds, that many times in your life takes the direction based on initial condition. For example, after 12th you choose engineering or medicine, or what life partner you choose. It may be metaphorical, but it depends on initial condition. So be careful in choosing your initial condition. Well, sir, in spite of your busy schedule, sir, you have accepted our invitation and have come to Mumbai to share your thoughts with us. Thank you very much. In fact, you are flying to Delhi immediately after the talk, so I think it is really a busy schedule for you. Sir, you have definitely brought an order into our minds. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank... Please clap loudly. I'd like to thank Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Rajan Velukar, for establishing this EYES lecture series. They are really an eye-openers to all of us. Thank you very much, sir. Not only he has initiated this program, but he has taken personal interest in organizing each and every event and each and every things that are required to organize. Thank you very much for your guidance, sir. And I hope your guidance would be also available in future. Also, Pro Vice Chancellor is not present today, but he has also equally supported us in all these organizations. So I'd like to thank him also. I'd like to thank Director BCUD. We are grateful to him for helping us in organizing this event and the previous events. His micro planning has helped us in making this event successful. Thank you very much, sir. Look at me. Okay. Well, now there are a lot of people who have worked behind the curtain. In this chaos, let's bring order. And I have a team behind us into helping us. So without the team efforts of my colleagues of various departments and various sections of this university, this program would not have been successful. The moral support and active help which is given from the bottom of their heart, which is visible here in this organization. So thank you very much. I may not be able to take all names, but in particular, I'd like to thank Mrs. Sriwara Mangai of IT department and her team in helping us design and print banners and posters. And Madam, your help to the AVU team, technical help also has made this program live on webcast, although we have Mr. Kumar also who has organized this. So I'd like to thank Mr. Kumar along with Professor Mangai. I'm grateful to you for helping us and shouldering these responsibilities. I'm grateful to Dr. Dongre of Biophysics Department and his team who have been of great support in setting up PowerPoint, laptop, projector facilities, and also the stage management and mic handling during the interaction sessions. Thank you, Dr. Dongre. Dr. Dongre is here. I'm grateful to Dr. Jyotsna Dongardevi of Computer Science Department and her team in helping us managing registration today this time. I'm also thankful to Dr. Varsha Kilkar-Mane of Biotechnology Department for comparing this event. Thankful to Dr. Kishore Gaikwad of History Department for taking up responsibility in transcribing the lectures into Word file and helping us to prepare the print document of these lectures. I'd like to thank also other colleagues, Dr. Sanjay Deshmukh and Dr. Professor Srivastava and Dr. Jadhav, Dr. Gowli. Dr. Gowli has been very helpful in us in giving us accommodation in ICSR hostel to the guests. Thank you very much, sir. We owe special thanks to heads of the Department of Civics and Politics in providing this elegant hall, General Administration Department for their help in the arrangement here, and Engineering Section for arranging the mic and projector facility. I thank PR of University of Mumbai for giving wide publicity and interfacing with the media, Mr. Vinod Malale, who has helped us. Account section has helped in the financial matters, and we are grateful to them. We are grateful to all the volunteer students for working behind the screen. I may not be able to take all the names, but without their help behind the screen, this program would not have been successful. Thanks to all of you. And thanks to all those whose names I could not take for lack of time and I might have forgotten. And if I have forgotten, please pardon me. Last but not the least, we thank all the students and participants. Without you, this program would not have been successful. Many thanks for coming and responding our announcement. I think, and there is one initial condition that if you start attending IE's lecture, your direction in your life would be different. So please start attending those. Now I declare the program is over, but request all of you to be seated until the dignitaries leave the auditorium. Thank you very much.